Hey guys, hope you're doing well. So I wanted to jump on here and do another little clip here. Um, and this one, it's going to be short. And so it just says, hereby the reason you are all here, which is the kingdom that come, which is the divine will, that which will be done, that is done by you the person, or whoever it is, the form that you take up on earth. That is done by you on earth, not me, which is him, which is HYMN, which is source, right? Which is not done by source because it already is done, right? So it says that is done by you on him, not me, which is source. For I am, right? For I already am. So source already is, right? There's nothing more that needs to be done with source. Source has already brought good to the world, which was to create it, right? For us to be here. So it is you who isn't of it, right? When you're not. So when you're not in alignment, you're not of the goodness of the world. You see the opposite, which is the lack, is the emptiness, is the darkness of the light, which is what source created. So you're seeing opposite at different levels of being to where source is, right? And so all is good by source. It's you who's seeing that it isn't, right? Thereby it is for the creation, which is the evolution of the young, to bring in a new harmony in of itself, being one to that which it is that I am, which is source, not you, for you are of the parents, not its own kingdom, right? So when you're the parent, it's saying you're the parents as far as certain things, but you're not the parents as in like their owner, their keeper, things like that. But because we're separate from source, we see that we are, and so we treat our children like we bring the experience to them from that perspective. So when our parents are out of alignment, they're in their personhood, and so that's who they're being to their children. And so a lot of times we instill in them like fear, anger, hurt, revenge, and we are not acting from the place of source, right? So um, there's that, right? Not its kingdom. So, but when we are creating from that space, we are creating this kingdom for them because, like I said, we're our own gods, our own creators of our own worlds. We have our own kingdom. So source has brought this world to us to be here to have our own experiences from that place of being, which we're creating from. And because we're not there with source, we create our own world, which is our own kingdom that we live in, which is can be anything from the absence of, the lack of, or the darkness, or the spirit, anything from there all the way up to the light, which is source. So anything in between, our suffering or bliss, happiness, sadness, depression, angry, whatever it is that we're creating, thereby to take away your kingdom unto them, which is of wisdom, for they are of their own meaning, which is the well of spring, right? So every new evolution that comes in has its own purpose, right? And it's not just to be, there for you of the parents, because the parents don't actually. The parents' job is to come together to create a new form. The parents aren't actually the ones creating the baby. They're just having the fun, we'll put it that way, in creating, right? But it's really source bringing those people. If you look beyond that, you'll see that source is the one that brings those people together to create that new being that needs to be, right? So you think it's you that's attracted to this other person, but it's source bringing them together to bring in this new being, which is the layers of being. But in the act of you doing it, you perceive that you're the one creating because you're carrying it, your whole, you're all. So you put yourself first over source, right? And not allow that to be. That's why you suffer birth, because you think you're the one taking on all the pain and suffering, when instead of allowing nature to be it and allowing it to flow through you, right? When you have that understanding conception, birth isn't that hard, right? You not the saying it's not hard, but I mean, you suffer your own suffering, which you think you're the one that's creating the baby. You're not giving it arms. You're not. It's doing it automatically, right? So that right there should show you that you're not the one doing it. It's being done for you. Like it's already there. It's already creating. It's already being. It's already its own intelligence. You're not saying, okay, I'm gonna put the eye here and put the arm here like a potato man, right? So you're not, source brings people together to create. It's all in divine order, right? But we think because we're in our separate self, it's us. And so even in our birth, we struggle birth and pain and suffering in that process, whereas it could be more blissful if we just allow source to take it, right, in its own hands, right? So anyway, um, I don't know where that came from, but obviously it needed to be put out there. Um, Thereby it is of the creation of the young to bring in a new harmony in of itself, which is your child. It's a new harmony that's resonating, not only with itself, but you, but to change it in its evolution from its stage from here to there, which is the pattern of itself, recreating to that which it is that I am, not you, for you are of your parents, not its own kingdom. Thereby to take away your kingdom unto them. I mean, don't put your stuff on your child, right? Which is of wisdom. So that's saying that for people who are enough aware enough to not do that to your children, is wisdom, right? Because you're in the awareness of source. You know that, this is, although I'm the parent, I shouldn't be putting my stuff on my child. For they are of their own meanings, right? So they have their own purpose when they come in. It's not just to be there for you, to be at your servant, to be at your beck and call, to do everything for you, to be your parent, because some parents will be victims, right? So, because they're still playing that role, even though they're now the parents, so they're still playing the role which they haven't given up and healed or transformed in themselves. So it gets transformed down, right? For your children are well equipped to be of it to that which you are and more. So every new being that's coming in, that's being of the creation of source, that source is bringing this person together to create a new form, is a new awareness. It's like, uh, back in the day we had DOS systems. Now we have Windows, right? It's a new system into itself. So it's being fully equipped to handle what is currently going on in the present moment, whereas weren't, we were then at the time, but we are not now. So it's change and evolution, even like math. Math has changed since I've been in school. It's a whole new math. Systems and computers have changed, phones have changed, everything evolves. It's a new, onto the new moment where it is now that we are prepared for that. So children are already coming in on a higher level of awareness, right? So we don't want to teach them our old, it's like putting old programs on a new system. Like it doesn't work, right? So to have enough awareness not to do that, is wisdom of the parents. If it's not, it's ignorance, right? To think that they should learn what we have gone through, right? And that's why things of the past are still evolving, like the wars and everything. We are passing that down to our children, right? When we're teaching them that instead of teaching them love and letting them be who they are in their new awareness, right? Because they bring in things to teach the world and to bring to the world. That's why they're coming in. Thereby to take away your kingdom unto them. So don't give your stuff to your children. Thereby they need not suffer by your own hand, but to be that which I give them, which is source, which is the intelligence to be who they are, not who you are, which is what you were. So whenever you're not letting go of your stuff, you're holding on to it in the present moment. So you're still being of your own suffering in the moment. And then you try to pass it down to your children, which is a lineage of suffering, right? It's constructs, programming, brainwashing, right? You're brainwashing your kids and you don't even know you're doing it. Which is to follow you in its being, which is suffering, right? So when your kids take after you in that way of being, they're continuing that on, that legends, right? So we don't want our children to be that. We want them to take on their true self, their new form, their way of being, their new intelligence, which is the reason why they're coming in. It's not to be of us, right? One with me, which is source, meaning you are of your own self, which is not knowing the difference between your ignorance and their intelligence of being one to itself, not its intelligence being to me, which is source. So you're not in your awareness knowing that, your children are new evolution, right? And it's not meant to be carried out through you to who you are in them. It's to be of a new vibration, energy, awareness, consciousness, so we can evolve through evolution and be where we need to be and not hold them back by trying to impose upon them who we are as a person, right? And allowing them to be who they are and flourish, right? Because if we keep holding ourselves back and staying in the past, like we're not going to get to the future. And if we do, it takes longer, right? And then we got to have all these awakenings, massive awakenings again and again and again. You know what I mean? So thereby you bring your children up with fear and doubt of the future, that which it doesn't know it leads by, which is that of itself, which is into temptation. For that of you is the upbringing, meaning to that which you have control over, which is bringing them to their needs or to uplift them. So you have, as a parent, you have a job to allow your children to be who they are, to explore, to experience, and not to put your own stuff on them. Allow them to be who they are and to develop and uplift them, not to bring them down into suffering and fear, and to teach them to fear their future, and to teach them ingrainment into the system of what we live as, like society, right? The society has been built to keep us as workers and slaves, and not to focus on ourselves, but the outside world, which doesn't exist because it's inside world that is projection of the outside world, right? That exists. So when we're of it, the minute you're born, right, they are ready to take you away from your parents. They want you to get into school. They want to start teaching you right from the young, because they know as your children are young, they're very impressionable, and they teach them to live in a society of workers and not establish who they are as in themselves, to be of their own kingdom, right? And to have that connection with themselves, unless you're aware enough as a parent to not, send them off to school and have them go through the rat race and teach them how to be um, of their own power and not a survivor, right, in society. Because when we're doing that and sending them to school, sending them out to do this and that, we're teaching them to be a survivor, not a king of their own, of their own world. So, just having that awareness, right? And then it says, thereby to be the shoulder to cry on the one that tarnishes them. So being the keeper of the child as it's being born and bringing it up to feed them and to clothe them or house them basically is just the only role of a parent, right? And to provide love and nurturing. We want to be careful not to tarnish them, right? And that is basically putting our stuff on them. Thereby you are that which is the keeper only of itself, not them, but you are that which is the taker of them, which is the caretaker, which is to keep them well in the hands of source, not itself, which is false, thereby to lead them into falsehood unto themselves or not, which is unto me, which is the kingdom that will come. Thereby to teach them who they truly are, not of which is the false being, that which is separate from, for that which you know not of yourself, right? So if you're not of yourself, you don't know, then of course you're not going to be able to teach them that. But if you don't want to teach them to be separate, right? You want to teach them to be who they truly are, not of yourself, you know not of me, to be that which isn't of itself. Thereby it is that which is of the self, not itself, and being one too, that is me, source, but yourself, which is the knowing or the illusion. Thereby to carry the illusion of itself onto your children, which is to not know of its own self, which is to live in poverty regardless of your riches. So even in your power, and if you're not connected, you can be rich, which many people are. They still lose themselves. Look at all the famous people which suffer, right? Because they're in their human self. They don't have the balance of source there to help with that. So you can find a good balance there, be rich, be connected to source, and be who you are. You can find a nice balance. But if you're not, if you have, the house, the car, and you're not connected to source and alignment, and you know your true self, then you're going to be lacking somewhere along the line, right? Thereby you put yourself first over them, not me, which is source, which is blasphemy. So when you're putting yourself as a parent over source, taking the role of source through parenting, you're kind of, that's what's considered blasphemy, right? It's not what they teach in church. Thereby, the intolerance only lasts for a short time, which is to your own suffering, before you come to me questioning who you are, which is the examination. So, with that, like it's saying the tolerance only lasts for a short time, which is your own suffering. So it's only so long before you start questioning your life, where you are, which wakes you up to the path, getting back on the path to truth. When you're away from it, which is your suffering. So it's only so long before your intolerance grows weak and old, and you don't want to put up with it anymore, and then you start questioning, okay, where am I, what am I doing, is this the right path, who am I, and you start questioning source. Okay, what's happening in my life, right? And that starts the path to awaken up back onto the alignment, right? So yeah, I'm going to end it there on that part. But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting here part to read, about parenting. And God knows, yeah, if I knew now, if I knew then what I know now, I would have parented differently than I do now. And that's why I said, like, we don't know if we're not connected. It took me my awakening to wake me up to things now. But I had my kids when I was not awake. I had them after, unfortunately. And a lot of us do, right? So, but that helps contribute to the experience for your children, I guess, at that level at the time. But if you are an awakened parent, that would be different. You have the more of awareness of being connected, and then you're able to bring up your children from a connected space. So, alrighty. So yeah, I'm gonna end that one on that note, and I hope you get something out of it, whether you agree or don't agree. But it's always doesn't hurt to be open and listen to different things that are coming through in this channeled writing. And I do like to share this information. If it resonates, great. If it doesn't, if it helps you, great. Yeah, like, subscribe, share, and stay tuned for more clips and experiences that I'll be sharing on this YouTube channel. If you do want to book a session, I'll be available. You'll be able to reach out to me. I am working on a new website, so the current one is down right now, and I might be changing the title on that. But I do have some books out there when I had started, all the channeling, the 2 pre-books. It's on Amazon right now. And also I have a new one that I just submitted last night, and that's for healing the karmic overlay. It gives you the passages and invocations and a place to start. And like I said, I might be starting some groups at some point. It depends. See how that goes and when that comes about, when it's time and ready. So if you're interested in a session, just reach out to me, and we'll set something up. All right. Happy journeys. Have a great day.